Hi friends, it's Palmer. No kitty right now. Maybe we'll get one, we'll see. They're so lazy. I have a new mic that I manifested. Last video I said I wanted a lav mic so that I could talk with my hands, and in response, my tiny mic died. But that's okay. My partner does music, so he has stuff like this just laying around. Pretty cool. Thanks, babe. I'm also filming on a different camera than usual, so hope it's good. We are gathered here today to talk about brunch, specifically the Supperland brunch here in Charlotte, North Carolina. In my opinion, brunch should be a special experience. It's a special meal. You don't eat it every day. Hopefully you have a breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day if you want, but brunch is special, both in its timing and its contents. We can compare it to, say, Thanksgiving in this way. You're only eating it once a year, and you're eating it sometimes at a different time of day than you might generally eat your meals. And there are some special culinary items included quite often that set it apart from an ordinary meal. Even if you're eating sliced turkey on sandwiches every week, you're probably not frying up a turkey for that every week, any other time of year. Busting out the fryer and the peanut oil? I don't know. You might have special recipes handed down through families that you only bust out that one time of year, like my Aunt Catherine's oyster casserole, my grandmother's tomato aspic. Yes, my grandmother loved tomato aspic, and we have started making it again for holidays. You're not eating that. You don't want that every day. So brunch is sort of a micro version of that. It's unique in its timing. You're having it hopefully more than once a year. I hope for you that you're having brunch more than once a year, and you're having it between when you would probably have your ordinary workaday meals, and it is unique in its contents. You're not generally having a mimosa and like steak and eggs or like a brioche French toast every day, or at least like I don't think you probably shouldn't. I don't think that's great for you. It should feel different than a humdrum ham and cheese lunch you're maybe used to having. I want an elevated experience out of my brunch. I want it to feel like a treat. Now, I want everything to feel like a treat, but that's neither here nor there. That's personal. There are plenty of places in town where you can get Eggs Benedict. There are plenty of places in town where you can get whatever red velvet French toast, whatever the fuck Snooze AM is doing. I want to go off on Snooze AM, but I can't really, because I've never been and I'm not gonna go. It strikes me as it's a family place. I wanted to say it strikes me as a place that presupposes you have children with you, but that's just a family style restaurant. Something about the branding, though, as an elder millennial, screams to me like old Nickelodeon with the orange and the shapes. I get the sense that it's going to be full of families with young kids. It's going to be loud. There are going to be children like eating a pancake off of an iPad while playing Roblox, like on that same iPad. There's going to be a child in a dirty Elsa dress and like light up Paw Patrol sneakers with her fingers in her mouth that tries to like bust in on me in the bathroom. That's the vibe I get from Snooze AM. Clearly that works for a lot of people. They have like 4 locations in town. I get it. I almost said children deserve brunch too, but I don't know if I believe that. I'm not sure you should get brunch until you've had to pay a bill. Whatever, brunch is for everyone. Snooze AM brunch is not the brunch I, as a childless millennial, am looking for. I want my brunch to be a glass coffee table with sharp edges. As I was saying before I started going off on Snooze, I want something that feels generally novel or transportive and exciting. And I will be convincing you that Supperland is the best place in Charlotte to have that kind of brunch experience. Little backstory on Supperland. It is located in the Plaza Midwood neighborhood of Charlotte, right across from the Giddy Goat and Whiskey Warehouse. It describes itself as Southern Steakhouse meets Church Potluck, and it's part of the Tony Dandle Brown restaurant group owned by Jeff Tony Dandle. I hope that's right, Jeff. and Jeannie Brown. Married, local, both did their undergrads at Davidson. I met them personally a few times, and I've always found them both to be very friendly, very lovely. Both seem very active and involved in the life of the restaurant. I've seen them at events at Supperland and other restaurants that are in their restaurant group. Which, FYI, they have a restaurant group called the Tony Dandle Brown Restaurant Group, and it encompasses some pretty awesome restaurants. Growler's Poorhouse, Ever Andalo, Raining Donuts, and Haberdish are all Tony Dandle Brown restaurants. Their newest venture is Luya Hall, which is opening this year in the South End, Dilworth neighborhoods. Conceptually, with Luya Hall, we're anticipating something kind of similar to Supperland because both buildings are housed in restored churches. They have a little rundown of the Supperland property story on their website if you want to give it a look. Oh, they have a little timeline. They clearly have a respect for the history of this property, and that, I think, is reflected in the building itself. So this historic building is what inspired the church potluck aspect of the restaurant. It's definitely a city favorite for good reasons. I've seen it on Eater lists. In 2022, it made Esquire's list of best new restaurants in America. It was number 15. A few notes on price and reservation. As a local favorite, reservations can be a little difficult to get. I believe we made our reservations for this brunch, which was the Saturday after Valentine's Day. I want to say 3 to 4 weeks ahead. So definitely plan ahead a little bit, especially if you're wanting to go around a holiday. I think they do a pretty great Easter brunch. Go ahead and get on that. If you have a date coming up like an anniversary, you want to make sure you make that reservation in plenty of time, because they will disappear. There are many things that make this brunch stand out from other brunches around town. The first of these is that it is a fixed price, prepaid experience. So when you go to make a reservation for this brunch, you will go ahead and pay for the experience when you make your reservation. This is excluding any beverages that you get when you go. Like if you order a pot of coffee, you'll pay for that on the day. If you get a mimosa, you'll pay for that on the day. When you make your reservation, you're just paying a flat rate for the meal. By the way, that flat rate is $65 for adults and I believe $25 for children. I did see children when we went, but not many, and the ones I saw were well behaved. So the day that you go to brunch, all you're paying for at that time is any drinks that you order while you're there. I'll go ahead and say, I don't think $65 is bad at all for the experience that you're getting here, especially since it is like, I don't want to say all you can eat because that like evokes big chafing platters, which is not the vibe. But it's a brunch buffet. You can keep going back and back for more and more grilled shrimp skewers or whatever, pastries, whatever you want. No one's going to stop you. So with that, let's get into the actual experience here and what makes it so special. Supperland, even on its website, advertises itself as being a place that evokes whimsy. And I think maybe we can even get a hint of that in the name, Supperland. The land ending evoking something that exists in the imagination, a fairyland, a dreamland, or something that you would find at Disney, right? The land of imagination, like Frontierland. This evokes an element of fantasy, a magical culinary world rooted in the food traditions of the South, as suggested by the supper part of the name. So even before you arrive for your meal, you're already being subtly promised a transportive experience. Supperland delivers, and why I think it delivers largely is an attention to detail and an adherence to this theme, if you want to call it that. There really is a palpable atmosphere here, and I think that's something that a lot of restaurants around Charlotte kind of miss, is making you feel like you are somewhere special, somewhere different. The high ceiling of the former church and the accompanying architectural details, these tall windows, beautiful exposed brick, really do a great job of building this vibe. I think lots of places in Charlotte, it's not even about like the vibe is bad, it's just that there's no vibe. There's zero vibe. This place has a vibe, and a good vibe, a vibe that fits this theme. But in terms of some of those details, I think you can point to certain things like the china being used, which you can purchase on their website if you want. Actually, let me look at that. And honestly, I've never looked at this before, but like, I mean, I'm not trying to spend this kind of money, but these plates are beautiful. So they're all southern vegetation and creatures. So a blue jay and a dogwood. I'm guessing a local butterfly, squash blossom, sweet potato. I don't know all my birds. Ramson palms, and then an apron. Even if you're not consciously being like, Oh shit, there's a blue jay. Is that a squash blossom? This is still adding substantially to this whimsy. Other things that contribute to this, I would say, would be the open kitchen. The lighting that they've chosen in here is really beautiful and different and emphasizes some of the unique features of the space. It's very grand feeling in the space, but the touches and the finishes that they've chosen lend it a lot of warmth. So it's not grand and kind of cold and sterile, it's grand and warm and welcoming. I see them paying the same kind of attention to details at Louis Hall, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how it turns out. Now that we've covered the vibes, I want to get into some of the food you can expect at this brunch. Let's take a look at the drink menu first. As you can see, we've got a nice mix of some cocktails you would maybe expect to see at a brunch, like a Bloody Mary and a mimosa, along with some different things. I love a Pimm's Cup. It's fun to see a Pimm's Cup and an Aperol Spritz, still trendy right now. And I was really happy to see a nice spirit-free cocktail list like this. I do get a little annoyed at spirit-free cocktails costing as much as regular cocktails. So like the spirit-free Italian spritz here and the Aperol spritz are the same price. I feel like the non-alcoholic one should be less expensive, but whatever. I just think it's very smart of them to offer these. I'm not drinking at the moment, and yeah, sure, I could just order like a sparkling water or something, but having something attractive and flavorful that feels like a cocktail adds to the overall experience for me. Again, elevates. I had the spirit-free Italian spritz and the spirit-free G&T. I definitely liked the Italian spritz more. It tasted more just like a regular Aperol spritz. Let's look at the food. So if you look at the menu, you can see things are being served in a few different ways. Again, I think brunch buffet really brings to mind like troughs with big trays of eggs that you kind of slop onto your plate, and you scoot down to the next thing and you like use the big pinchers to get yourself some pancakes. That's not what's happening at this brunch. Not that kind of brunch. Not that kind of brunch. So first, we've got these small bites that are passed around the dining room. So servers are circulating with trays of shrimp and oysters and cinnamon rolls, and they'll amble by your table and offer you some. Like past hors d'oeuvres at a cocktail party or a wedding. If you're already like just floating seafood and pastries to take whenever it's offered to me, that sounds great. Yeah, lock in. In addition to the past small bites, we have 3 different stations dedicated to your heavier portions of the meal, your proteins. You'll notice each has a couple little sides that are served with it. They have these set up back along the open kitchen station and kind of the back of the dining room. And again, you can go get as much of any of these as you want. I didn't see a sign saying 3 frittata limit or anything like that. And then you got your buffet table, and this is where you're grabbing little dishes for yourself. But this is refined, even dainty. I would go as far as to say no trough of eggs. Everything on the brunch table is plated really attractively and intentionally. Nothing's just slapped on a plate. This brunch is, if nothing else, very aware that we eat with our eyes first, right? Nothing is unaesthetically pleasing. And then they do have a caviar service as well. If you really want to go nuts, we did not get this, but it's an option. If you got the money to burn, bruh. So I think I'm just going to kind of walk us through the videos I got a little bit and show you some POV of what our experience was like. Right when we arrived, we were sent a little gift from the kitchen. And this was, I think, just like a grilled pineapple with a tasty sauce on it. Love a little treat from the kitchen. Always nice. So here we have the past small plates. I jumped at the chance to get a shrimp and some oysters. Dude, sick rings. I love the little ramekin that this is in. And this is just such a cute plating. Just adorable, whimsical, fun. The cocktail sauce on the shrimp was fantastic. These oysters, their house mignonette, I suppose, is what they're putting in here. Both were really great. If you like an oyster, if you like a shrimp, don't forget to grab these as they go past, and they will come through multiple times. Got our drinks here. We've got my Aperol Spritz and Austin's XL Mimosa. I love the big glass they serve these in. I did not get all the footage of this table that I wanted, so I'm going to share some other. They have buttermilk biscuits, butter for the biscuits, gluten-free banana mini muffins, carrot cake jam, and tea sandwiches. They have cucumber and they have pimento cheese tea sandwiches, very daintily plated. These were great. I love a tea sandwich. I really do. I did try this pimento cheese. Now, you may have recalled me having said previously I'm very picky about my pimento cheese. This was pretty good pimento cheese. It was a little bit sweet. I got some footage of me trying it and reacting in real time. There's like a whole genre of pimento cheese that is slightly sweet that I don't engage with. This was a little bit sweet, not a ton, but a little bit. There were caramelized onions, which I think is maybe part of what contributed to that sweet taste. Despite me not like agreeing with the genre of sweet pimento cheese, I did think this was a delicious tea sandwich. They did at this point come around with cinnamon rolls, and these were delicious. It's a real strength of this brunch that really everything, even the mains, are small, kind of bite-sized, right? Everything is sort of easy to individually pick up and eat. There's an emphasis on delicate finger food a little bit, which again sets this apart, makes it almost feel like a high tea in a way. If you are a genius like I am, you will combine the elements of this portion of the brunch to make a tiny ham biscuit for yourself. I made myself a little open-faced one here, as you can see, with the carrot cake jam on top of the ham on top of a biscuit, because I am a genius. Einstein who? So here's the other side of the buffet table with the smoked salmon tartines. You got little salads, and it was gonna salad. These lobster deviled eggs were so good, you guys. And the citrus sunrise jello, I think that these are naturally flavored with, I think, just citrus fruits. I think it's an orange and a grapefruit and a lemon. I'm just delighted that this is on offer. It seems kind of nostalgic. It seems kind of retro. And ambrosia salad as well. So again, stuff that is southern and like a little bit vintage, a little bit mid-century, you might say. Which is interesting because I think that might comment a little bit on the age of the building we're in. Again, this is a mid-century church. And like jello and ambrosia salad speak to me, at least, as like kind of mid-century foods. Is that crazy to say? I also just thought this was really beautiful. Like, I love these soft colors. And then the strawberries with cream. This was so delicious. They had this little bowl of strawberries and then a pitcher of cream that I don't know if maybe it was just slightly sweet cream, I believe, that you poured over, and just had this simple itty bitty dainty satisfying little bite. And that's kind of all you need. I wanted to get a shot of the frittata station here. I did not get a frittata, but Austin did, so we're checking that out. So they had crispy Brussels sprouts, the little slice of frittata, and then like mini sausage and mini bacon there. So you see how it's like two little like sort of mini sausage patties and like two sort of like almost half slices of bacon. I'm sure some people will feel like they're being scammed. I think this is great. You can go back for as much as you like. I'm not going to slap your hand away from the tiny sausages, I don't think. This is nice for being able to try a little bit of everything without getting yourself overstuffed right away. Trust me, like, we rolled out of this place. We did not want for anything. I did visit the skewer station. I got the prime rib skewer, but they also had shrimp and veggie. My tank was getting pretty full by the time I got to the skewer station, and I will say this is an unfortunate quality of somebody who's trying to be a foodie YouTuber, but my tank is pretty small. I get full kind of quick, so I have to be a little bit strategic, and I push through. But part of what got me full before hitting the prime rib was this dish next to it. This is grits, stone ground grits with gravy. This was the absolute best thing that I had. This was so fucking good. If you're like me, you're from the South and you grew up with grits and you know good grits and you love grits, and you have someone in your life that maybe has never had good grits and thinks they're bad, this is a good medicine for that, because these are so delicious, thick and creamy. This gravy on top is so flavorful. True highlight. Again, we got a couple pots of coffee. This is the coffee service. So cute. I love the raw brown sugar cubes. And then of course we have the pastries. Again, they had some special ones for Valentine's Day. So these were chocolate strawberry macaron, salted honey tart, chocolate covered strawberries, bouchon brownies, red velvet cupcakes, tea cookies, chocolate cherry tarts, and raspberry mousse cups. I tried most of these. I didn't try a salted honey tart. That just didn't sound as exciting to me as the other stuff. So here's my first pastry plate, and I was proud of myself that I got so many things, including the ambrosia salad. And I'm glad I got the ambrosia salad with my pastry, because I think it's sometimes presented as like a side. This one especially especially. I don't know what's usually supposed to be the creamy base of an ambrosia salad. And I don't know what they used here, but it was almost like sweet cream cheese, or I don't know if it was a mascarpone. It was almost like frosting. And that's too sweet for me. I'm not a frosting person. So like the ambrosia salad, if you get it, it's a dessert. It's sweet. These Bouchon brownies were probably the best of these pastries. These were so dense and fudgy and just exactly what you want. They look like they're just for looks, but these tiny little heart sprinkles on top just added like a little bit of crunch here and there that was kind of nice. You can see how kind of dense and fudgy that is. And then these little raspberry cups. These were so good. This was probably my second favorite, but I didn't love the shell. Like there's nothing wrong with the shell. It's just a basic chocolate shell, but the mousse itself was so good that like I bit off the top and then just ended up like licking the mousse out of the shell like an animal. Austin did get some eggs Benedict, so here's just a little shot of that with their potatoes. I think he enjoyed this. Quite nice plating. The macaron, I got one that had a slight dent in it that I'm trying to cover up here with my thumb. These were just fine. I will say I think these macarons really nail the texture that I want from the macaron. I don't know if it's really hard to nail flavor in a macaron. I don't know if that's just like a known difficulty, but in some of the like celebrated macarons around Charlotte, I find that they do fine on texture, but like the flavor isn't really there. Just like, okay, this is just sweet, really getting berry or whatever. There was some flavor to this macaron. I think it did have that same problem to some degree, more than any other macaron I've had in town. This one really has that chew that you want, or at least I want from a macaron. And then this is the chocolate cherry tart. This was fine. The filling was the highlight here, as was the case with the mousse cups. And a red velvet cupcake. These are fine. Fine red velvet cupcake. No complaints. Another one of these little whimsical details that I just picked up on, this was like after we'd signed our check and we're getting ready to go. The table next to us had ordered some tea, and they bring it over with a tea bag in it, and this adorable hourglass timer, they said, and they're like, yeah, when this runs out, your tea will be brewed. Cute, thoughtful, fun, interactive little detail subtly adds to the experience. And then we left, and our car had gotten towed. Yeah, it was one of those like text thing to pay to park things, and Austin put it in his license plate instead of mine. So watch your parking. If you're going to park at that bank down there, they do too. I'm going to come out and say something bold. I think this is the best brunch in town. Yes, you're going to spend some money. This isn't a $25 brunch. But again, I think for the quality of food, for the overall experience you're getting, the volume of food you can potentially eat, and variety, right? You don't have to stick to one thing on the menu. You can try every single thing that's on offer. I think this would be a fantastic and pretty creative date. Like, I would be very impressed. This would also be a fantastic, super fun morning with the girlies. You'll all get dressed up. Mimosas, this beautiful backdrop. I think if you're trying to impress anyone, Supperland is a great option in general, but for me, this brunch really especially stands out as something special in the Charlotte like brunch landscape. Go ahead and start planning your Easter, planning your springtime meals, and I hope you enjoyed this look at Supperland brunch. If you've been, please let me know in the comments what your experience was like, if you enjoyed it, and if you liked this video, please interact with it in some way. You got likes, you got subscribes, you got comments. You've lots of ways of helping me out. I've been really enjoying making this foodie content for you, and I am branching out a little bit in my subject matter, but I intend to keep creating foodie content because it's something I really enjoy. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day. Ooh. I am honored by your attention. Thank you for engaging. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye! I think if you have a teen that you want to bring for a special birthday or something, cool. But if they're like 10 and under and they're going to fight and kick each other and eat pancakes off of their iPad while they play Minecraft, maybe not. Take them to Snooze AM.